lot deeper than that, especially when we consider you're using medical grade materials, and your lungs are an organ, of course, so anything that you breathe, functionally you're picking that up as well. So I've got a little bit of charcoal going here. This is what's called in Japanese it's called koro. So just going to bury a little bit of charcoal here so that it's not in direct contact with the materials. We don't want it that hot. And then covered with, this is a little bit of rice ash. Got, just in case, my heat guard. So, you can feel that there's heat coming off of this. For ease, you can use like these little tin foil cups. You can use a piece of tin foil, just set that right on top. So, traditionally, there's all kinds of materials that are used that have both fragrance and function if you're taking these internally. I'm sure people have heard of things like frankincense and sandalwood. If you're Chinese, maybe you know chenxiang, but you probably don't know it as an American, and we don't usually see it as herbalists in its raw form. We usually get formulas that are made with it, but it's kind of hard to get your hands on the real thing.
The aquilarium?
Yeah. This particular is some Malaysian material, and I actually import, and I also extract oil from it as well. So, quite a bit of fun. So, why would this be done? Historically, it was done for a number of reasons. Basic things like sickness. So even up until World War II in the West, it wasn't uncommon for people to actually walk through the hospital ward and waft smoke into rooms and over patients. And that was a simple form of fumigation. There's all kinds of Western herbs that are used, basic things like sage and lavender. Those kinds of materials usually aren't used, at least not in high quantity, in incense compounding. But for the basics of doing it at home, we usually call it smudging. But really what you're doing is an old practice of fumigation. So if you have some tongs, real simple thing you can do, and this is where you guys might want to come in a little bit, is that we'll get some heat here.
Frankincense?
Yeah. So we'll try a couple different things here. It's fun to do this on the spot, much easier when you're sitting down. So you can see hot enough here. Sorry about that, guys. If you want, while we're doing this, you guys can take a look at what's in the box here. Got two different species of frankincense. Got some chenxiang and some tanxiang, sandalwood and agarwood. The little briquettes are getting lost in here.
One is Boswellia serrata.
So actually, this is free Rihanna. Sorry, not free Rihanna. This is Sakura, and this is the black frankincense.
Rushiang.
This might actually not be getting hot enough. Might have been burning the charcoal for too long and it kind of broke up a little bit. And you can smell the charcoal more. Let me see if I can't get a little bit of the charcoal going here for us. A little bit of fumigation.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
You want me to blow on it to see if I can get it going?
Say that again?
You want me to blow on it? See if I can get it going?
So what we can do is this.
You better don't mind.
Can someone do some qigong on this?
Let's do this real quick.
I don't think I do. No?
We get this down.
Where are you from?
Not really.
Are you practicing?
No.
Oh, I have lots of friends over there.
My apologies on the delay here. At home, this is much more elegant than out in the park. You can see here, sure it's getting hot enough. You can pass it around if you like. Now let's do this just to have some fun. Here you can kind of catch a little bit as it would smell. Again, very inelegant way of doing this.
I got my crack pipe in the car.
Kind of what it feels like. And so you can see there's different material here.
So it's a sandalwood?
Yeah.
这是乳香针，那是没药吗？那个是没药吗？
Smell like home?
This is 没药, right? This is
Yes.
没药.
No, that's not
No, that's
moya. That's
Rushian.
actually it's actually a species of black frankincense, black Rushian.
Oh, black 乳香. This is 乳香 too, right?
Yeah. So this particular material is from Oman. This is from Somalia.
Okay. Okay. So Indian and then Africa, right?
No.
No?
African.
So
African.
African and African.
Oh,
Different parts of Africa.
oh, different. No, no.
The Rushian that we use in Chinese medicine is usually Indian.
Yeah.
So that species is Indian. There are actually 18 different species of frankincense that are used.
Yeah.
And you can see too, see how these aren't very opaque, they get very clear, especially if they're wet. Usually higher grades have lower gum content and higher oil content.
Oh.
So part of it too is just a difference in what's there.
Okay.
So if you look at something like so you should know this, some chenxiang.
沉香.
Does that ring a bell?
止逆降气.
And this is unfortunately a very rudimentary way of doing it. You get much more out of it if you just gently heat it.
Yeah.
So these are old forms of fumigation.
Descending the backwards qi.
You'll smell that? So this is, in Chinese it's chenxiang, but this would be some Malaysian otter wood. You can see if you just heat this up a little bit. Smell how you get a lot more fragrance out of it.
It's nice.
That ring a bell?
Yeah, yeah.
Smell like home?
Yeah. Open my liver qi.
You can see too that there's quite a bit of resin that's in these. See how it's getting all shiny? So this particular type of wood, and you can even see there's a little insect hole from where the natural wood. So these are actually a type of pine tree. And just like pine, they're very soft and brittle, and it's white wood. And so it's not until there's some kind of infection, usually from either fungus or like an insect boring through, that they start to resonate like this. And that's when you get an immune response to it, and that's where you get chenxiang from. And so part of the reason it's good for immune stuff is because it's you're actually consuming an immune reaction.
From the tree,
plant.
responding to a pathogen, with a bug or a...
Right.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
something a little easier to see.
沉香. Yeah.
So you've got
in,
this is-
yeah, in traditional Chinese medicine, it descends the
Right.
rebelling qi.
we would
Yeah.
say that it aids the kidneys in grasping
Yeah,
the
yeah,
qi.
yeah.
So Tanxiang has more of a functionality in the upper aspect of the body, where Tanxiang is lower. And so in meditation practices, you find these often being used together to kind of open up both the upper and lower aspect of the body. Make
Okay.
sense now?
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is a Japanese incense company. The sticks here, difference is that if you're buying Indian incense, it's probably synthetic or predominantly synthetic these days, whereas a lot of the Japanese is still natural. And so if we do something like this, you can tell the Tanxiang here. You'll get much more, you can pass that around.
白檀, 檀香.
I have a fan. I was told it's made from.
Yeah, smell familiar?
Yeah.
Right.
檀香.
And so,
That's why it smooths out your qi.
yeah, and so they're very aromatic.
Moving the
Just like Oscar was saying earlier, foods that are very dispersing. These we would say are very, they're moving, so they help move qi and blood in the body.
在
So that's Tanqiang.
下焦之气.
You have a little bit of Chenxiang. So this was a little bit of Malaysian Chenxiang that we had used. This is actually made from Indonesian, so from the island of Borneo and Thailand. So there are 13 different countries that 18 different species of agarwood grow. You can pass that around and smell a little bit of a difference. Probably better if you just hold it and then just waft a little bit of smoke. And so these are things that I use commonly in practice. I have a variety of things on hand at the office, so when I have patients come in, I pretty much know what, if there needs to be any fumigation, what needs to be done. And I think of it in terms of herbs. It's just another way of dosing your patients.
I love this the best.
Yeah.
Shi. Yeah.
It's good stuff, huh?
Yeah.
Do you know what part? Is that the bark of the tree?
No, this is actually, so this would be inside the tree, so it's carved out. You can see the carving marks. So you can actually see where they carved this out all by hand.
等他们都讲完，要不然大家都在这儿围着。
Yeah, and so then these used together, you can see would really kind of open up the entire abdomen from the neck down to the pelvis bone.
I feel hungry.
Yeah, now you feel hungry?
Yeah.
So we would say that these also do increase the appetite and things like that too. You can use them for folks that don't have appetite. Yeah. Very stimulating.
So you volatilize the sweetgrass too?
Occasionally. So you can look at this, and if I cut a little bit out
是
here.
诺草。
Right, so one of the interesting
诺道
things is
诺道
that,
根须。
of course, there's a lot of things not indigenous to the U.S. that are used, but this would be an example of, say, indigenous medicine like stuff. This was common with Native Americans, so you can smell a difference here.
Oh, this is Native American. 这是美国的。
Very sweet smelling.
自然
They
烧
smell like tonka beans, so it's very kumaric.
没闻见什么味儿啊？
So this would be more like smudging, what people would do, where they burn herbs, just like you would see in hospitals in the old days, and they go through and waft smoke. This would be something that was used here in the United States.
Oh, now I'm getting that talking about.
It's like kumari.
Yeah.
What's that
Tonka
in
beans.
Chinese?
I don't think tonka beans are used in Chinese medicine. They come out of like Guatemala
Okay.
area. They're like Central South America, and they also grow south in Brazil. And they're very large trees that put out beans. And actually, if you ever have real Mexican vanilla, Mexican vanilla is usually vanilla beans and tonka beans that have been tinctured together. So it's used in flavoring. It's not used in flavoring in the United States, but in Europe, if you have custards, usually they're actually not using vanilla. They're usually using tonka bean. So, little culinary, information there. And you can see that these things, of course, everything's blowing this way. But you can really get good smell out of this. The Japanese material is really nice because this will fill a room. A little stick, and a little stick might have, a fraction of the amount of material that's in a little piece like this. So they go a long way. You spend $50 on a box like this, but it'll last you for ages, and all you need is a little bit. Very easy, especially in practice, because I generally only burn about 1 millimeter or 2 in a room. So you don't smoke the patient out, but they'll fragrance a room for a very long time. They'll stick to clothing and hair. And for patients, especially when they come in with cold or damp lungs, real simple way to dry out their lungs is a little bit of qian, a little bit of incense.
Yeah. The pungence will dry. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, and it's, the sheer fact that you're burning something and there's smoke, it's going to be dry. But you can think about these things. I have asthma patients that come in. Usually it's really good for asthma patients because
If they have dampness.
if they have damp, but even if there's deficiency, because these things are going to increase They're going to be yang tonifying, and they help to break up phlegm damp and then move qi, which is what they usually have trouble with anyway. So, real simple way of using these medicinally. And that's it. Very